That's stupid. Punching a Nazi. Okay, let's make something absolutely clear to begin with. I consider Nazis extremely punchable and agree that most of them are deserving of a good beating. I mean, they are Nazis. They are in favor of racism, anti-Semitism, general persecution of minorities, often Holocaust denial, and last but certainly not least, fascism. Whoever is a proud Nazi and not completely ignorant about what this actually means really needs some sense beaten into them. Figuratively. I have proudly maimed and killed thousands of Nazis and Nazi-inspired groups in video games and can totally feel the satisfaction of watching Indy decking a Nazi, Rick and Summer beating the crap out of a Neo, and Cap punching Hitler square in the face. And all this is A-OK. That is what fictional media is made for. Escapism, living out fantasies that can, or at least should, not be done in real life. Let's talk about Richard Spencer. I don't know enough about him to truly appreciate seeing his face smashed in like this, but for a moment let's just take his opponent's word for it that he is the kind of shitty human I just described. Now it is hard to deny the cathartic experience the spectacle provides, isn't it? But all that said, punching a Nazi is still and should be understood by everybody as only one thing: stupid. And here's why. To stick with Spencer since he's the most famous punched Nazi of recent history, and also because I can call him Dick while claiming that I don't mean it as an insult, what actually did Dick do wrong? Is he an aggravatingly shitty person with a disgraceful view of many of his fellow human beings? From what I've been told? Yes. But did he break any laws or is otherwise involved in criminal activities? Well, there's this domestic abuse case, but nothing about him being charged for any Nazi stuff. For argument's sake, let's assume that Dick the Nazi never acted upon his beliefs besides utilizing his right of free speech and publicly sharing his opinion. Well, if you are saying that publicly expressing your opinion is a justifiable reason to get punched, you are implicitly agreeing that Dick has the right to punch you as well, because I have the feeling that he disagrees with your publicly shared opinion that punching him is fine. Because justice means that the same rules apply for everybody. And while it is easy for any non-Nazi to say, yeah, the same rules apply for everybody, all Nazis get punched, that is a slippery slope if I've ever seen one. I mean, if all it takes to make punching members of a certain group okay is that the majority of people don't like them, basically any minority is a potential target. Scientologists? Most people agree they are crazy cultists. Punch them. Anti-vaxxers? Don't care that they are just trapped in a misguided attempt to protect their children and or their freedom of choice. Punch them. Creationists? Don't get me started. Punch these science-denying imbeciles. Rick and Morty fans? God, they're obnoxious. Punch them. Antifa? You mean those violent assholes who like to go around and punch people? Punch the... Oh... And I didn't even have to draw the obvious parallel between people who like to use violence on minorities they disagree with and Nazis themselves. Joking aside, there is a reason why the guy who attacked Spencer, as well as violent protesters like Antifa, usually cover their faces. They are completely aware that what they are doing is not just. Otherwise, I would expect them to proudly show their faces, and they would welcome being arrested for their belief that violence is a valid approach to solving issues. All great movements have their heroes who now are the faces of said social revolutions. The good news? Dick might smugly hold his face into any camera he runs into, but he will never join the ranks of a Martin Luther King because he is not a figurehead for the betterment of humankind. He is, well, a Nazi. But do you think his attacker would ever get celebrated as a hero if he had the balls to punch Nazis in broad daylight without his mask? No. Among his own small group of violence advocates maybe, but to the vast majority he is just another dangerous hooligan who should be locked away. And I 100% agree. If you are the one who is making a non-physical exchange of ideals, no matter how rotten and disgusting some of those ideals might be, a physical altercation, you are in the wrong. You are a criminal. And worst of all, you make your opponent a martyr and strengthen their position. You are forcing people like me to side with a fucking Nazi. But a society in which it is okay to get attacked in the streets for your point of view would be a society in which nobody could ever feel safe to freely express an opinion. Because there will always be somebody who disagrees with your ideologies just as much as most of us do with Nazi ideology. And the same goes for less extreme examples as well. Take the way how some people react to the sight of one of the infamous MAGA heads. The wearer is often confronted with everything from insults over harassment to physical violence. None of these are appropriate reactions. Even so, the wearing of such a hat is, without a doubt, an explicit political statement and it should not go unchallenged. But none of the aforementioned actions are actually challenging the political views of anybody. By bluntly antagonizing the other person, you turn yourself into the villain figure to them and dehumanize yourself in their eyes. Instead of changing their mind, you end up strengthening their conviction that the other side is evil. Here's a better idea. Instead of calling them names, be friendly and ask them to explain to you what in America is currently not great and Trump promises to improve. Bonus points if they can do it without sounding like a xenophobe, a gullible parrot, or a general misanthrope. There are times and places where violence is acceptable, when both sides agree to it and they don't cause any collateral damage, to defend oneself and others from harm, and of course in any form of fiction. But willingly escalating a real-life conflict with physical attacks because you don't see another way, that's quite literally stupid. I have no clue how this video will go over. On the one hand, the idea of punching a Nazi is understandably popular, but on the other, I can't imagine that the majority of people advocating this kind of action on the internet are still aware that it's actually not okay. Just in case this video does not spark enough discussion, let me throw out one more complicated question. What about beating up a guy for, let's say, intentionally spoiling a long-anticipated movie like Avengers Endgame right in front of the cinema to waiting moviegoers, as it allegedly happened in Hong Kong back then? I really don't want to advocate violence, but if this person really did act out of malicious intent to ruin the experience for others, meaning there has not been an expression of opinion in the context of free speech, but a willing, if extreme, minor attack on people's well-being, I'm inclined to say he had it coming. But yeah, I'm honestly torn about this one. What are your thoughts? As well as on punching a Nazi. Well, it is time for a more lighthearted video again, so next time I will tell you why conventions are stupid.